election outcome. And they also plan to say, we have no evidence of cyber manipulation of election infrastructure intended to alter results. Here's the bottom line. What people need to know is Obama's intel community was about to give Obama a presidential daily brief that totally dismissed, downplayed, poo-pooed, choose your word, the notion that Russia had meaningfully interfered in the 2016 presidential election.
Fox News alert, the director of national intelligence, Tulsi Gabbard, releasing a bombshell report today that shows a conspiracy by a sitting president, Barack Obama, and his intel agencies to sabotage the president-elect, Donald Trump, brainwash the electorate, and undermine the
He used to be like a superhero everyone loved. But now, behind his fancy speeches and bright spotlight, something not so nice is sneaking out. Megyn Kelly and Jesse Waters are like detectives, looking closer, and the perfect picture is starting to look messy. The Netflix shine is fading, the podcast wisdom isn't hitting right, and the mixed-up stuff he says is louder than the cheers he used to get. This isn't just a joke, it's like a big gotcha moment. The mask is coming off, and what's underneath might change how you see him.
The assessment of January 17 was set to downplay Russian interference in the 2016 election. Then, after a meeting with Obama and the top intelligence community officials, or at Obama's direction at least, the intelligence community did a complete 180 and played up Russian interference.
Democrats spent the last 2 decades calling men toxic and shipping their jobs overseas, and now they're asking, where did all the men go? Obama's trying to save the party he destroyed, so he's on a manhunt. But there's one problem. Brothers don't listen to him anymore, so he's trying to transition boys into girls. Barack's got his own rules for men, but these are the rules that made men leave the party in the first place.
Barack Obama once gave a speech so smooth it made everyone go wow. But now, he's less like a cool president and more like that guy at a school reunion who keeps talking about his old wins. Except now, fewer people are listening, and nobody's clapping. It's like he was the star at the school dance but stayed too long, trying the same moves even though the lights are off and the janitor's ready to lock up.
I was bored. Michelle's outshining him. She's a big Netflix star, best-selling author. Now she's a fruit juice tycoon. And he's just left starved for attention. Just the way Michelle likes it.
We had your wife Michelle in the show, and she had mentioned that for about 10 years of the marriage, she really didn't like you. Oh, man. So, asking for a friend, how do you get back in good graces? Again, for a friend. You got a friend, so I take them up.
Let me just say this. It sure helps to be out of the White House. And to have a little more time.
Megyn Kelly didn't even need to think twice. She rolled her eyes so hard when Obama's latest Russia story popped up in the news. He's not exactly in big trouble, but things are getting warm. The guy who used to mean hope and change now seems kind of vague and dodgy. Jesse Waters leaned in like a detective in a movie, connecting clues like he's pinning strings on a board. His face said it all, not shocked, just like, ugh, really, as they watched a former president take a big leap off the trust cliff.
Let's go back to December of 2016. Barack Obama's president, but Trump has won and is going to be taking over as president in January. And they planned, the intel officials under Barack Obama planned, a lot of this is from Racket News, which everybody should read directly, Matt's group. Intel officials planned a December 9th, 2016 presidential daily brief, which is always from the intel community for the president, letting him know what's happening in the world. They planned a PDB that would say foreign adversaries, quoting here, foreign adversaries did not use cyber attacks on election infrastructure to alter the U.S. presidential.
Let's be real, Obama's cool vibe is cracking like old glass. He used to be the king of cool, but now he's like a playlist that keeps glitching, annoying, repetitive, and trying way too hard to come back. He showed up at Martha's Vineyard like he's still flying on a fancy plane, but now it's more like he's stuck in awkward news moments, weird political choices, and podcast lines that sound like a robot learned them from his old speeches.
There is irrefutable evidence that details how President Obama and his national security team directed the creation of an intelligence community assessment that they knew was false. They knew it would promote this contrived narrative that Russia interfered in the 2016 election to help President Trump win, selling it to the American people as though it were true. It wasn't.
Gabbard got her hands on a House Intel report that's been locked away in a...
And Megyn, she went for it like a doctor who really needs coffee. Watching her pick apart Obama's after-president life is like watching someone pop a fancy balloon with a dull fork. She went straight for the stuff where he says one thing but does another, like a buffet of rules for you, but not for me. Like preaching about saving the planet while flying to fancy vacations or talking about fairness while hanging with super-rich tech guys. The irony was practically spilling out of his shirt.
Too. Just to be clear, earlier this week, I actually wrote this down. I rarely write down what I'm going to say, but just didn't want to forget it because there's so many moving parts. We learned that intelligence community assessment of January 17 was set to downplay Russian interference in the 16 election. And then after a meeting with Obama and the top intelligence community officials, or at Obama's direction at least, the intelligence community did a complete 180 and played up Russian interference instead of playing.
Then Jesse swooped in like a hawk, spotting a big contradiction in a wide-open field. He didn't even blink, just pulled out a list of Obama's biggest moments. Remember when he got a Nobel Peace Prize while okaying drone strikes like it was a game? Jesse didn't let that go. He said it's like they should have given him a game controller instead. And Obama acts like he's just a regular guy, now super relatable except he's giving speeches for tons of money, signing huge Netflix deals, and throwing birthday parties fancier than a king's wedding. Megyn almost laughed out loud. Her face was like, yeah, super humble with a guest list that could break the internet. The 2016 election drama didn't help either. You could almost hear his team stressing out. That topic is like a bad smell. To his image, everyone else remembers. And Megyn and Jesse aren't the type to let old scandals sleep. They're like people showing up to a campfire with extra fuel and a marshmallow stick.
So Michelle didn't like Barack for 10 years? Well, join the club. We didn't like him for 8. So Michelle hated being first lady, always in the shadow of the president. But now she's in charge and she's only letting Obama out of the house to do one thing, cry about Fox.
What about this country keeps you up?
The thing that I'm most worried about is the degree to which we now have a divided conversation. In part because
The roast didn't stop at the 2016 drama. That was just the start. They served up a huge meal of irony and attitude. Let's talk about Obama's legacy, the one he keeps shining like an old trophy. Megyn brought up how healthcare under him gave everyone a headache. Obamacare was supposed to fix everything, but it confused people with all the bronze, silver, and gold plans. Even now, Obama talks about it like it was a huge win. Jesse said it's like giving someone a tiny bandage but charging them for a big operation. And the border stuff. Those cages didn't just show up in 2017, they started earlier. Jesse made sure everyone remembered that. He didn't hold back, pointing out how the media was basically Obama's fan club, letting scandals slide while other people got in trouble for way less. Fast and Furious, IRS stuff, Benghazi those weren't small oopsies, they were big alarms. But Obama was too busy joking on TV shows to answer questions.
Did you see the post he put out to celebrate her birthday?
Yeah.
Was it her birthday or their anniversary?
Yeah.
He chose the least attractive photo of her that's ever been released. I mean, this is just wrong. Michelle Obama can look very nice in a photograph. This ain't it. She's got the kerchief on her head. They're about 20 feet apart in this intimate dinner. And he looks great. This is classic, right? Like, he's like, great picture. He's got the 1,000-watt smile.
Then there's his need to stay in the spotlight. The Netflix shows, Spotify playlists, and interviews where he talks about himself. It's like he read one article about young people and decided to become a brand instead of a former president. Jesse didn't even need to say much, just picturing Obama in sunglasses giving life advice on a podcast was funny enough for a whole show. It's hard to take advice from someone talking about fairness while wearing suits that cost more than college classes. Maybe he thinks it's inspiring, but to most people, it's just old news. And that time, he unveiled his own portrait, standing there like he was super proud of it. Jesse brought that back like a funny plot twist. It wasn't just pride, it was like a big show with a side of look at me.
More hot air from Barack because he couldn't care less about the environment. This weekend, the former president was in LA grabbing a bite to eat with his daughters, and obviously at a very trendy restaurant. While the Obamas dined on $20 sushi rolls, their SUV sat idling outside, just spewing pollution into the air. Idling for hours. Check out the video from the Daily Mail showing Barry just casually strolling out of the restaurant, not a care in the world, before jumping into the SUV. What happened? I thought Barry loved the environment. That doesn't look like a guy who cares about his footprint too much. And it certainly doesn't look like the guy who's...
Even his speeches now feel like repeats of an old TV show. They sound nice, sure, but listen closely, and it's the same old stuff: hope, change, unity. You could probably make a robot that spits out Obama's speeches, and it'd sound like a big TED Talk. Megyn joked they could sell them as fortune cookies at fancy cafes, each one with a deep-sounding line that doesn't really mean anything. Jesse just grinned and said, "Watching Obama in today's politics is like watching someone try to update an old MySpace page in 2025, outdated and kind of sad." Oh, and don't forget the foreign policy messed-ups. Jesse listed countries that got Obama's special mix of vague speeches, empty promises, and drone strikes with more problems than a bad medicine ad. The Nobel Peace Prize people are probably wishing they could take it back.
Here he is alone at the Trump inauguration, which really was stark. All these former presidents came in with their wives, and then there he was
jarring.
all alone. It was jarring, wasn't it?
Yeah. I mean, just the spectacle of it all.
Got to spend a minute on the Obamas, because there seems to be some momentum picking up in the rumor mill about their marriage. All right, I'm going to bring you what I know.
Megyn laughed even harder when she talked about Obama warning about fake news while standing next to super-rich tech guys who could buy whole newspapers. It's like a vampire giving advice about staying healthy. He talks about avoiding echo chambers while living in his own perfect bubble. His media stuff is so carefully planned, you'll never see him face tough questions, just selfies and cool walks. Jesse wondered if his next project is just annotating his Spotify playlists with mood notes, like track 5. Listen while making tough decisions, but keep chill vibes. Megyn ended the roast with a smirk, saying Obama's the only former president who makes being distant look like a talent. But behind the curtain, he's not a wise leader, he's a celebrity with a script, saying deep stuff that means nothing, nodding seriously while reusing old lines, and aging nicely while his choices go bad like old yogurt. The Obamagate whispers are getting louder.
The shooter. And I thought, all right, let's see if maybe this is a way America can hear me at this moment. Go back to that day 10 years ago. What I think binds it together, all these different strands. A case upholding healthcare, a case declaring same-sex marriage part of our constitutional protections, of mourning. I think what pulls it all together is that no one person did any of it.
So he's sitting around on a June Thursday thinking about himself. And
People aren't clueless, and neither are Megyn and Jesse. While some try to avoid the topic like it's a secret nobody says out loud, the whispers keep coming. The connections, the trips, the names, no one's starting a fire yet. But it sure feels like something's brewing. Obama might still have fans who love his self-help talks and jazzy podcasts. And while he's busy writing his next big article or picking another Spotify song to seem deep, the world keeps remembering the truths he hoped would stay hidden under his smooth words. The president pedestal he stood on is now just a stage for keeping his image shiny with speeches that don't hold up anymore. The halo's slipping, the story's unraveling, and the idea of perfect leadership is getting poked full of holes by the same people who used to cheer. Megyn and Jesse didn't just tease him, they pulled back the curtain on the show. And what's left isn't a statue, it's a gift shop waiting for one last moment in the spotlight before the lights go out on Obama's big comeback.